Amar Knox, Alabama State star,
Speaking of local kids,
is one of the billion players now in the transfer portal.
literally a billion.
It's a billion.
Yeah.
Transfer portal open Monday. There are a billion players in it.
Yes.
And I was just flying home last night, and after getting caught up on White Lotus and Righteous Gemstones, White Lotus is getting out of hand. Are you caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up, yes. Wild.
It's wild.
That one storyline is pretty wild.
It's a wild situation.
Yeah, it's a wild situation. I'm anxious to see how it plays out.
I don't know if I'm anxious to see how it
Yeah,
plays.
maybe I'm not, actually.
I don't know, man. It's a
Great
wild
show, though.
Great show. Wild situation. And I'm just sort of messing around on Twitter and reading stuff, and everybody's like, and now there's 800 players in the transfer portal. This is ridiculous. And now there's 1,100 players in the transfer portal. This is stupid. And I'm just like, what is ridiculous about it? Let's have this conversation.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about the transfer portal, but for the sake of the conversation, I want you to pretend that you think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, okay. I can do that.
That the transfer portal is open right now and filling up by the hundreds. Mm-hmm. Expand on that thought. Why is it ridiculous?
Well, GP, I think it's ridiculous that guys can just go. They can just see. This is like the old man coming out in me, though.
That's right. Everything you say is going to be that.
I know. I'm trying to come up with
and this is my point.
I mean, the argument is finish what you started. That's the argument. If the money's there, finish what you started.
Here's my point. I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal, like Amar Knox, and saying, it's ridiculous. This school gave you a chance, now you're just leaving them? Oh my God, you just won a game in the NCAA tournament and you're getting all the shots and scoring all the points, and that's not good enough for you? Now you feel like you got to find something new? Grass is always greener? Just saying stuff like that, right? Except what I think people either refuse to realize or just can't grasp is that you got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. It is no longer a college experience. I even saw somebody last night make the point that with all these players transferring like this, how are they ever going to graduate college in a reasonable time? Because all your classes aren't going to transfer and credits apply and all that stuff, which is a totally reasonable point, except that's not the priority anymore. No. Do you think these young people are in college to graduate college? I mean, they'll get there eventually, but that's not the priority. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
Yes.
And these are jobs available to people who are not under contract with anybody. All right? So let's just talk about Amar Knox. We talked about him last week after he led Alabama State to a victory in the NCAA tournament. He graduated from Bartlett High, was initially committed to Memphis, decommitted, and went to Alabama State. Wisely, I think, because he's more of an Alabama State player than he is a Memphis player. So he goes to Alabama State, and he leads the team in scoring, scores the game-winning bucket in the NCAA tournament, gets a post-game interview with John Rothstein, all good stuff. Why would he not get in the transfer portal? Rather than watch him do what he did yesterday and go, this is ridiculous, why wouldn't you go, yeah, it makes sense?
And it does.
I don't know what Amar Knox is majoring in. I don't know what his basketball future is. No idea. I know this. Just by making it known he's available to be bought, he will make more money next year playing basketball somewhere than he's ever made in his life. And it is possible he will make more money next year than he'll ever make any other year of his life. It's sort of an inverted thing now, which I do think is a possibly problematic dynamic that coaches really need to be talking to their players about. Most of us, when we're in college, if we're making any money, it is not the most money we're ever going to make, and we don't think it's the most money we're ever going to make.
Right. You're going there to make more money eventually.
That's right.
Yeah.
I went to college and I delivered pizzas while I was in college. And I assumed that I'm just doing this now to get by, But eventually, I'm going to make more money than I'm making right now delivering pizzas. Eventually, I'm going to make more money in my life than I'm making as a junior in college or a senior in college. It's not necessarily true for basketball players right now. I promise you, there are basketball players in the SEC who are making more money sitting on a bench right now than they will ever make in any year the rest of their lives. They'll never have a W-2 that looks like their current W-2. So the thing that you got to try to figure out and understand is that you don't want to develop a lifestyle that's going to fall apart on you just the second you graduate college. Typically, you graduate college and your life's supposed to get better. But for a lot of basketball players and football players, you're going to graduate college, be out of eligibility, and your income is going to go dramatically down if you're not an NFL player or an NBA player. And so you've got to figure out that part of it. But more to the point about the Amar Knox aspect of this, he is more valuable as a college player, and a lot of these guys are, than they'll ever be as professional players. Like, there are people sitting on Ole Miss's bench making $250,000. Like, they don't play, but they're making $250,000. So let's say there's just $200,000 out there for Amar Knox. That's $200,000.
Yeah.
Why would you not
take it.
Why would you not get into the transfer portal
Right.
and see if somebody's willing to throw this money at you? There is a lot of real money getting thrown around. Remember the player at Memphis who quit right before the beginning of the season? Remember how much money they had given him, and he was was expected to be a role player? Mm-hmm. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. People are throwing around real money right now to college athletes, sometimes stupidly. My advice to Amar Knox and literally every other college basketball player right now, unless you are completely happy with where you're at, your role on your team, and reasonably sure you are making everything you can make, or you're uninterested in trying to chase more because you feel like it's enough, unless you are 100% happy in every way you should be in the transfer portal. And it doesn't mean, like, if you're a Memphis Baraka coach, you got in the transfer portal.
Yes.
Okay. You ready for this? If I were PJ Haggerty, I would get into the transfer portal. And not because I want him to leave Memphis. I want him to play at Memphis next season. But if I were advising PJ Haggerty, you know what I would do? Get in the transfer portal. Just see.
What's the value? How much will someone pay?
Just see if Nate Oates calls and says he's got $2.5 million.
Right.
Just see if Rick Barnes calls and says he's got $3 million.
Yeah.
Rather than recommit to Memphis for whatever the number is, why not get other numbers and then say, Penny, I want to be with you.
Yep.
This is where I want to be. I want to try to be back-to-back AAC Player of the Years. But Bruce Pearl's got $2.7 million in an NIL package on the table for me. I'll stay for 2.4, but if we can't get there, I got to go. Like, however you want to do it, it's up to you.
Yeah.
But why not get these offers from all over the country just to see what your worth is? I will tell you, every meaningful raise I ever got in my career came when I had multiple people pursuing me. Everyone. If I were a college basketball player, I'd be getting that transfer portal and trying to get as many offers as I can, even if I'm planning on deep down just staying where I'm at. It's not ridiculous that these guys are getting in the transfer portal. It is quite literally the smartest thing they could do. It's the most profitable thing they could do. It won't work out for all of them, but what is the harm in finding out your worth? What is the harm in finding out if some school you've never even thought about attending is willing to throw more money at you than you even thought about ever getting? There's no downside to it. Mm-hmm. The only downside would be if your coach tells you, because some coaches will tell you this. If you want to get in the transfer portal, that's fine, but you will not come back here. Once you go in, there's no turning around. You walk out, you're gone. We will move on. So just be sure you don't want to be here before you go, because if your name shows up, I know technically you can come back, but I'm telling you the way I run my program, you will not come back. And even if it's at my detriment, you will not come back. Well, then you got to think about that if you're a player. Like, do I really? But unless a coach is putting those types of demands on you, the smartest thing you can do is get in the transfer portal, get as many offers as you can, and then weigh them against each other, and then make the best decision for whatever things motivate you. But I just find it crazy that people don't understand exactly why the numbers are what they are. There are millions of dollars to be made. And if you're sitting back and not entertaining possible offers, you might be, not definitely will be, but you might be shortchanging yourself.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.